To put it in the way, battling, having got in way of the attempted clearance. Jim Gannon. Oh, great flick on by Alan Armstrong.
Piece against Bradford, but here's Warburton!
Yes!
Oh! London trying to manufacture the shot, gets it away, yeah!
Not got it clear. Please, sir! It's a cracker!
Running Armstrong, played in the game, and a superb goal!
Tony did it! Stockport County are the champions of League Two.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Courtyard Clubcall. I'm Jimmy Harmer, and I'm joined by Dan. Hi, Dan.
Hello, mate. Are you all right?
I am amazing, thank you. So we're here to discuss the quite brilliant 3-0 away performance at Blackpool. It was brilliant on so many levels. Performance was brilliant. 3 goals were great. I walked 88 kilometres to get there. I'm feeling not too bad, in fairness. But thank you to everybody who sponsored us. And so me and Dan are going to dissect that performance. And I can't wait, to be honest. I reckon it's probably in my top 5 to 10 ever county games. Don't know about you, Dan. What do you think?
It just ticked all the boxes, didn't it? The weather was good. We won, clean sheet, 4,000 county fans. We took over Blackpool. Good time. No real issues as such. So it just can't get better than that, can you? An away win.
I've got to be honest. I've spent about an hour and a half trawling like whatever social media that I could find on random like videos recorded by Blackpool fans, and it just amazes me how much noise 4,000 county fans can make, and just the limbs everywhere as well. It's just, I just recommend anybody, if you've got like an hour to spare, even half an hour to spare, just type into like X or YouTube or something, and you'll find some amazing videos.
And that temporary stand was definitely bouncing it for a lot of the game. You could feel, how that you allow that, because it was just felt there was so much movement in that stand when all the county fans were bouncing about.
Yeah, and the acoustics were great. I mean, you can see why Blackpool had been limiting us or away fans to like 1,500, 2,000 in the last few seasons, because we created a hell of a lot of noise, didn't we?
Yeah. I mean, it was just a special day, to be honest. It just really was. Being Blackpool, being in the summer, it was just I kept on saying all week on different pods. It's not that Blackpool is any sort of bigger or better than somewhere like Barnsley or Birmingham or anything like that. It's just, it was a reward for all the county fans for the last 10 years or plus of misery of going to places like Colwyn Bay and Vauxhall Motors and North Ferriby, that we get to have a weekend in Blackpool. And it was, like I say, it will be, especially like for the generation of my lad, Toby, who's like the 14, 15-year-olds, they've never really experienced that sort of, day out as such, and that win away and stuff. And I think that'll live long in their memories as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely rocking Notts County away vibes from last season. Great. Okay, so if we just go through the lineup, so Corey retained his spot in goal from the first league game. Then we had 4 in defence, so Mingy right back, Horsfall and Pye in the centre, Torre at left back, a couple of defensive midfielders in Camps and Bate. Then it was probably 3 ahead of them, so Diamond on the right, Collar through the middle, and Barry on the left, and then Wootton up front. Was that a team you were expecting, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, Challenger very rarely changes a winning side unless there's an injury. He doesn't change a winning side. So yet, even though Fevier played really well midweek and made a really cracking substitution coming on against Cambridge previously. I didn't think he would change it, and I didn't expect any fresh injuries, so I expected the same starting 11.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same, Dan. I mean, I think the team that he put out, obviously, in the previous game against Blackburn, sort of pointed to the fact that he was going to keep an unchanged side, and that was good. So moving into the first half, how were your feelings as the half progressed? Did you think we were controlling the game? Do you think it was tight?
I thought the first half. I thought we were okay. I could still see that we're a work in progress team. There was still partnerships that were still a bit rusty, and the odd misplaced pass, or playing the ball behind the player instead of in front of him. Just the communication, or that synergy between the players just wasn't. They all weren't in tune yet. But like I say, it's a new team, and that will come along the more they play. So the partnership between Bate and Camps looked a little bit like they're both trying to do the same role, and getting in each other's way at times as well. But what I think we talked about last season. Not just the team improving, involving Dave Challoner's evolving as well, and we know that he's quite astute at making tactical changes, just little tweaks to the side to improve it, or if he sees a weakness in the opposition, then he will try and exploit that. So the first half for me, it was very, very much evens. I felt we it was a level pegging team. I think Blackpool were very much same again. We go up the divisions, and yes, the football is meant to get better, but the dark arts of the game also get another level as well. And just them little cute little holding ons, and the rolling with the body, and the little shoves, and the little tugs and stuff. Again, gone up a level from League Two.
I think the word that I'd use for the first half was safe. I think all the players played it pretty safe, and Dave did say in his post-match interview they just wanted a little bit more from them. I mean, you're right saying that it was even. It was possession 45 to them, 55% to us. Very similar on XG, 0.3 to them, 0.24 to us. 5 shots to them, 4 to us. We had a few more passes than them, but it was very much even. And I think at half time, I was of the mind that this could go, well, one of 3 ways. Either they will win 1-0, we will win 1-0, or it'll be a 0-0 draw. I thought they were pretty solid at the back. I don't think we turned them enough in the first half. I mean, we did get behind a couple of times. So Barry got behind them and he hit the post. Obviously, Wootton had that free header from a carbon copy cross. So against Cambridge, it had been Fevrier, right-footed cross. And obviously against Blackpool, Collar put pretty much the same sort of ball in, and Wootton just got underneath it. You could tell how frustrated he was. But going in at half-time, I think it was anyone's game.
Yeah, it was one of them. On a county's perspective, it needed a goal. The game, rather, like we said, I felt if we get 1 goal, we'll get 2. If they scored, then I felt they would probably go and sit back on it, and we would then go for it, and that would then open up the game as well. So it was just one of them games. Just needed that goal to sort of spark some life, and like you say, both teams playing safe. Obviously, they lost their opening game away, so it was their first league game of the season. So obviously they don't want to lose. I think that was probably the best way of describing it for them. It was a game of do not lose, and they weren't, like you say, going for the win. Dave Challoner, as we know, doesn't play really for draws. We rather win or we lose, and if we lose, then we go out. We go down swinging, and we lose by 1 goal or we lose by 3. But we don't settle for not trying to win the game.
Yeah, I think the only controversial decision from my point of view was whether it was a penalty to Blackpool. Pye did seem to have a grasp of their centre forward at one point in the first half, and their centre forward went down, and they all cried for a penalty. But obviously, the ref had a better view than us. What was your view on that?
It's a weird one because, like I say, that we know that the referees have been told that's one thing they're meant to be clamping down on this season. Grappling and pulling and tugging and stuff like that. But all over the pitch, he was letting it go. I mean, Wotton was being bullied left, right, and centre by their centre backs in the first half. I thought, and that he just let it go. The referee. That's what I was surprised about, and that he let it go. It was one. I say everything. I could understand it if the referee was strict on it from the minute one, but as the game developed and he was letting lots go, then to give that as a penalty at that point, I think would have been very harsh.
There was quite a bit of inconsistency, I think, in the first half, in that a few players were booked, weren't they, and for nothing challenges really. But and he added six minutes of added time for the first half?
Yeah, well, I mean,
a couple of injuries, weren't there? Adai got injured.
Well, to be honest, I think same again. I think that's just from Corey. That was really good game management. At I think it was 10, 15 minutes into the game. Obviously, he's got clattered and he probably has got hurt, but he sort of realised that because obviously, if the goalkeeper goes down and he gets treatment, he doesn't have to go off the pitch, obviously, to the referee. So if he goes down, it gives the team then an opportunity to go over to Challoner to get some instruction, a bit of coaching, take on a bit of water, and just take a breath and sort of reanalyze and reset themselves and go again. So I think he might have been a little bit hurt, but I think he's clever enough to take that as an opportunity for the team.
And I think that's probably where he's got a bit more gamesmanship than Ben. I think Ben wouldn't necessarily do that. He'd just sort of get up because he's tough, isn't he? I'm not saying Corey isn't, but he'd just get up and carry on. So that's a good point, Dan.
Yeah, and I say just them little things. I just think Corey is, like I say, it might be because of his age and obviously the training and stuff like that he's had previously. But he's, like I say, game management as such is just a little bit more. It's a game management that will annoy opposition fans, no doubt. What he does on a goal kick and giving it to the defender to kick it and then giving it back to him and I've changed my mind, you have the ball type scenario. It's going to drive them potty, but that's the nature of the game nowadays.
But also doing that, it means that they're not comfortable. Okay, so if you're always just kicking it long, they're going to get set up, aren't they, and sort of move from that. But if we're playing out from the back like that, they're never quite sure whether to go or whether to drop back. So I think that's a really good call this season. That must come from the coaching team.
Yeah, and if you notice with Corey as well, he's got that nice habit as well where he pretends to throw it out and he sort of loops the ball around in his hand.
Yeah.
And just little things like that. And same again, he'll get the ball, he'll do like a throw in from over his head and throw it out to the defenders. He'll roll it out, he'll kick it out, he'll play it short. So, like you say, you don't know what he's going to do with the ball, which means, like you say, how do they set up for it? And like you say, it just, I've been really, really impressed with him. And every game I see him play, the more impressed I'm getting with him.
Yeah, good point. So moving into the second half, surprisingly on FOTMob, it was even more even. So it was 48% possession to them and 52 to us. Our XG was significantly better than theirs, but still not massive. They had 0.22. We had 0.64. 5 shots to our 7. And interestingly, they had none on target in both halves. So Corey didn't actually make a save. And we were making the keeper work. We had 5 shots on target in the second half. Passes similar, 153 for them to 183 for us. But it didn't feel, so looking at that, it looks like it was quite an even second half. It did not feel that to me. I thought we had total domination, to be fair. I don't know whether that's what you felt, Dan.
It's momentum. That word momentum that we
Mm.
always like to use, don't it? It just same again. It felt Blackpool came out quite sort of like strong and level, but we sort of once we started finding our feet into the second half, we started dominating it. So we started seeing Bates and Camps. The relationship between them two was a lot better, a lot more movement between them, a lot more passing between them, a lot more one of them joining, going forward, a lot more joining, sort of like instead of having two players on the pivot, we ended up like one of them would go forward and would end up with one on the pivot.
That was definitely key, Dan. It was definitely
Yeah.
key because first half, you're right, they were next to each other, weren't they? Second half, it was sort of more, you go, I'll drop. You go, I'll drop.
And the other one for me was Carl Wotton. I think Carl Wotton realised that he was being bullied, and he should be the playground bully. You know, he should be the one that's bullying them. And we've said this before. Carl, if anybody's ever spoke to Carl Wotton, he's the most nicest bloke in the world. You know, but at this level, you've got to be a bit of a shithouse. You've got to be that horrible player at times. And I'm not saying he has to go out and look for trouble, but if trouble wants to find him, he needs to look at it, smile at it, and nod his head and go, I'm up for this. And he sort of didn't really do that in the first half, but the second half, he was just absolutely dominating them. He had, I say, the central defender that was felt like he was 6'8" and quite a big chap. He absolutely had him all over, and he weren't going to be pushed about by him anymore. The referee weren't giving free kicks away for it. So he's like, right, you put your hands on me, I'm putting my hands on you, and you're going to have some of it back. And that created a little bit of chaos, a little bit of uncertainty in their back line. And the ball started coming to him. We started turning him. He started laying it off. And we started having a platform to really sort of build upon from that moment as well.
So let's talk about the first goal. I mean, it was something that Barry had tried to do probably 4 or 5 times in the game. That sort of cutting back inside on his right foot. The defenders had pretty much snuffed that out for the previous times he tried it in the game. But this one time, he got past his fullback, didn't he? Got past his fullback.
It's a
That
bit of a
caused
weird
problems.
one. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one when you watch it because it was everything just fell in his place. I think there was a touch in there that was a little bit heavy from him that moved him on a bit further in field than what probably he might have wanted to. 2 Blackpool defenders ran into each other and knocked themselves out as such. Another Blackpool defender obviously felt that he put his weight on his wrong foot and was off balance, and it just sort of led Barry quite a long way across that 18-yard box. But that, in fairness, that helped him because what that then created that space for him to go back across on his left into that left-hand side of the goal, where if he took it earlier, you felt that he might have actually just ended, if he didn't curl it into the right corner, if he went for the left, that one might have not found its target. So, a cracking shot. Obviously, I think Challen has said that they were probably looking to take him off anyway just before that. But yeah, like you say, he did it a few times. I get a bit worried at times. Are we being a bit over reliant on Louis Barry doing something like that for us at times? But it just ignited everything then. Not just the fans, but the players. Players like Jack Diamond seemed to sort of wake up and really come alive. And it just sort of really sort of gave the team some sort of real belief that we can go and win this.
Yeah, I mean, that was on 67 minutes. So you used the word before, momentum. And the momentum definitely shifted at that point. What surprised me about that goal was that they had a massive gap between the defensive midfielders and the central defence, from what I could see, or maybe their midfielders had dropped into the penalty box, but there was nobody marshalling or making sure that, or stopping him doing that run across the box, was there?
No,
And
I
you'd have
think
thought that really he should have run into somebody, especially with that heavy touch, but he didn't. And as you say, the goal opened up. It was power, I think, in the end that beat the keeper. It wasn't in the corner. It just went straight through what I thought the keeper, maybe if he'd been a bit bigger, I wonder if Corey would have saved it.
Yeah. But I think there was a lot of people saying again ball watching, weren't they, from Blackpool as well. They sort of stopped their run and watching him, and they probably think, well, he's not going to do nothing here. He's going to just run, like you say, because a few times he sort of just run into danger, and ball's bobbled off him and it's gone off somewhere, or it's gone out for a goal kick or something like that. But we know that he will carry on having a go. He will have a pop. He will get one on target. And like you say, it's same here, fantastic, because we know he's not up to fitness yet. We know we're not seeing the best out of him. Dave Challoner says, he's still potential wise, he's nowhere near anything like the finished product. So we're going to see more improvement and more progression with him as a player. And like you say, it's quite terrifying when he's going to be on a good day. When he's absolutely, because you could see him scoring an hat trick easy. When he's really in the mood for it and really fit and really on top of it, he's going to tear some teams up.
Yeah, and then we take Barry off with on 70 minutes. Fevs comes on, and more brilliant work from Bate, basically. So we had Bate patrolling the centre of midfield brilliantly all game, and the second goal really came from him anticipating what was a stupid ball out from the goalkeeper into the centre of the pitch. Bate sort of picked up on it, ran with the ball, you're thinking, what's he going to do? Is he going to shoot? And he laid on a beautiful ball for Fevrier to cut it back onto his left foot. And again, he hit it hard and low. You could say it was maybe through the keeper, but again, I think the pace just beat him. And at 2-0, we're all limbs everywhere. And we're thinking, great, I think that's 3 points. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, you had obviously between sort of Fevrier coming on and the goal, you had Jack Diamond seemed to sort of really come alive. And we probably saw the best sort of 10, 12 minutes of Jack Diamond in a county shirt that we saw. And he really, really was a threat. And like you say, then Fevrier gets the ball and same showed you his versatility, because I think he played when he came on, like you say, in the 70th minute. So he's had 20 minutes. And I'm sure he's played 4 or 5 different positions in them 20 minutes, Fevrier. And he's saying again, another player that he's got so much skill, potential, running on the ball, strength, power. And same again, just nice that he took the shot early, didn't really worry about the placement of it, just knew that I'm going to get my foot through this and put power through it, which is nice to see, because sometimes we've seen players that are more concerned about the placement and getting it on target, opposed to just absolutely hitting his foot through the ball. And same again, just outstanding, I thought, at that point. That once Barry scored that goal for me, I knew we weren't going to lose this game, or we were going to win it. And like I said, we were just absolutely dominant then. And same again, and the second goal was not a surprise.
So that was scored on 84 minutes. We brought on Odin Bailey. He came on for, I think it was Diamond. We brought Collar off, and he put Tyler Onyango on. And
87th minute.
He came on for Mingy. Mingy, and we put Alafi on for Collar all towards the end of the game, sort of 80 to 88 minutes, basically. Bailey had a good chance towards the end of the game. Quick feet, and maybe should have done better with the shot eventually, although he was being sort of crowded out. And then that led to, we ended up scoring our third goal. So Alafi, that was a long ball from Adai, a little bit of a flick from Wotton. As you say, he was winning the battle, wasn't he, against a central defender by that time. Tiny little flick, comes through to Alafi, uses his body strength, holds the defender off, sort of knees it across to his sort of right hand side and just smacks it low and hard. And what a great goal for him, like being on the pitch for like 10 minutes, and he's been injured for all this time, and he gets a goal for us. That's what you want your strikers to do, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that goal will laugh at everything that we've always said about him, power and strength. And when he does things quickly, instinctively, he's a championship quality player. We always said that when he's got an opportunity where he has to think about it,
Yeah,
or
one-on-ones. Yeah.
that's where he sort of falls apart a little bit. But instinctively, for a player, ball being crossed in and first time touch, or like you say, just a touch out of his feet and hitting it first time. No better player in this division for me.
So just running through the FOTMOB scores, I think for the second league game on the trot, we've had ratings of 7 and above. The lowest rating was Diamond at 7.1, Mingy 7.2, and Adai at 7.2. Man of the match, according to FOTMOB, was Lewis Bate, who got an assist and an 8.5. Torre was just behind him with an assist. That must have been for the Barry goal, an 8.2. Do you think those scores are fair on FOTMOB? Would you have given Bate man of the match?
Same again. You wouldn't have. You could have, for the second half, especially performance, you could have given it to anybody for the second half performance. I think, for the first and the second half, for me, it would have been Torre. For me, that was Torre's best game in a county shirt by a country mile. I thought he was head and shoulders over any player on the pitch, to be honest. For the first half and the second half. Second half, like you say, there was a lot of plus. I thought Wotton was outstanding in the second half. Bate was outstanding. I just it was even, like I say, Jack Diamond's cameo. But yeah, for me, overall, for the full 90 minutes, Torre was just, I thought it was just, that's the Torre that we want to see every week.
Yeah, and he's so solid when he's played at that left back position, because he's not really required to get forward as much, I don't think, when he's got Barry up there. I mean, he does support him, don't get me wrong, but we didn't see any overlaps from him, I don't believe, in that game. But we don't need that with the way that we're lining up with that front four.
No, I mean, same again. It just gives different options, because obviously what happens is if Barry goes out wide, you'll end up with 2 defenders following him, and then that creates a gap or a hole for someone like Torre or even Pye to carry that ball into that hole, or Bate. It just, like I say, but I just thought he was just absolutely outstanding. And like you say, I just hope, that's the start of his season as such, his real county career. Because like you say, I just thought he was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, agreed. So referee watch, what do we think of the ref?
It's one of them ones, when you win, you're never that bothered. I felt it was a little bit frustrating at times. Like you said, a bit inconsistent. And I suppose that was just us as fans. So I don't know what the actual players are thinking when something gets given as a free kick and then it's not given, or an advantage is being played and the next minute it's not being played. So yeah, it just won't be, like I say, won't be the worst referee we have this season, won't be the best. Hopefully we might only have him a couple of times this season. If we end up having him 8 times a season, I could see us maybe getting a red card at some point in a game. Saying that, I think there was only 1 yellow card through the game, if I remember rightly, which I think was it Collar's silly little red card that he got.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I felt there were. Well, I mean, they got 3 yellows, and we only got 1 with Collar.
Yeah, which was a silly one, because it was when he was we give a free kick away, and he ended up
away, didn't he?
kick the ball away. So
well, you say he kicked the ball away, kicked it about 2 meters, I think it was, but it was enough.
Did he back heel it or something?
Yeah,
he walked over the ball and just kicked it with his back heel, and
yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just silly like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, we kept another clean sheet. We've scored, multiple goals. I would have been happy with a 2-0 win, but it was a 3-0 win. We took 4,000 fans. Same again. For a league game, I don't know when the last time we took 4,000 for a league game was. Obviously, we took lots to Rotherham and Bolton in the FA Cup, but for a league game, And same again, we now won the first 2 opening games of the season. There'll be lots of fans out there looking at what's our best ever league start for a county. How many games have we ever, how many points have we taken from the first 5 games? Because, let's be honest, winning the first 2 is unusual. But, this is what Dave Challoner's about, and this team's about is, setting new records and setting new sequences and runs and putting them together and stuff. So, it does look really, really promising. We got, a week off now before the next game next Saturday, which is a 12:30 kickoff. So they've got more time on the training pitch. Hopefully, more time for players to get back from fitness or a little bit of fitness in them. Alafi's had a bit more game time. I wouldn't expect him to start next Saturday, but same again, having them sort of players on the bench and we've seen with Fevier as well, what an outstanding contribution again from him from the bench. So yeah, it's quite lethal. You know that if you're 1-0 down or you're 0-0 and you want to go out to win the game, you got players of that caliber that you can bring on.
I think the exciting thing for me is that this is hopefully the thinnest that our squad is going to be, and when we start getting players back. So, for example, at the moment we haven't really got anybody to play in the collar role, but I think Fiorini will end up going there. We haven't really got anybody backing up Bate and Camps, but when Powell comes back, you can sort of see Powell sort of fitting into that sort of role as well. Obviously, Fevrier is competing on that right hand side with Diamond. So, Dave is going to have a headache like in the next sort of 2, 4, 6 weeks when people and players are coming back. But that's what you want. You don't want 11 first team players and then a load of sort of like guys making up the numbers. You want a squad of 22. And shout out to Simon Wilson, because looking at the players that we've got to come back from injury, they're only going to make us better as a squad. And if someone's having an off day, if Barry's having an off day, take him off after 60 minutes or something, shove someone else on. And if they do well, they might keep him out the team. So I think that's the most exciting thing for me and why I think we could do something really special this season.
Yeah, these opportunities to rest players as the season goes on when they're all back fit. Same in Fevier for me, I could see him in that number 10 role. What Will Collier is playing, more advanced, linking up, because he terrorises players like that. Bailey at the same end, I thought he was outstanding when he came on. He doesn't give the ball away. The ball close at feet, and he's going to win penalties for you because he gets the ball at feet. He's got magic toes. He keeps it nice and tight to him. And same when we've said this before, the substitutes have to make a difference. They have to make an impression when they come on the pitch. And same again, they all do. Even the lad from Everton, I can't remember his name now. Tyler.
Onyango.
Yeah. And same, I thought he looked solid, and he came on, and we went back to a back 3 at that point. And I thought he looked, really strong, really up for it. Didn't give anything away, won all his individual battles, looked calm on the ball, and looked like a player that had actually been playing with for us with all of last season, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that. I've got one last question for you before we sign off. Okay. Yeah. So, do you take Louis Barry scoring 15 goals before Christmas? We're top of the league, but then being recalled or maybe sent to a championship club? Or do you want him scoring 5 and we're sitting 6th in the playoffs? And we keep him for the rest of the season?
I think with everything that's gone on before, I think Louis Barry is the master of his own destination. If Louis Barry wants to go and try himself at a higher level come January, then he will make it happen. If Louis Barry is happy with the way that Dave Challoner is helping him progress as a player, and the squad of players are helping him progress as a player and become a better player, then he'll stay at County. For everything that's been said about the engineering of his loan move back to County, a couple of weeks ago. I'm no doubt that Louis Barry is that he knows what he wants. He knows where he wants to get to in his career, and he'll do what he wants to do.
Yeah, good answer. Okay, well, we're on 35 minutes. I think we wrap it up. But it was great seeing you in Blackpool yesterday, mate.
Yeah, and well done to you guys for the sponsored walk. Over 55 miles, I think it was, from Edgeley Park all the way to Bloomfield Road. I know there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and pain, and to get to watch that game. And what amazing me more that you all managed to stay awake and watch the game as well, because you absolutely look knackered. And like I say, if anybody's listening to this and then they're not aware of it, you can go on the Scarf Begawa War socials. You'll see a link on there. The Just Giving page is still open if people want to donate a pint to these guys. It's very easy to do, just a couple of clicks and you've done it. They're nearly at the £6,000 mark. So yeah, if anybody can help them get over that mark, that'll be brilliant.
Thanks, Dan. And we're hoping to have a Czech presentation on the pitch at Edgeley Park at a home game when we can all make it. So hopefully in the next couple of home games. Great. Okay. Well, I'll see you soon, Dan.
Yeah. Roll on next Saturday in Bristol.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.